All right, let's get a start with section 3. Here's the focus question. Repression of civil liberties, common during World War I, continued in the 1920s. This included lynchings of blacks in the South and violence targeted at free speech and press activists. Those viewed as political radicals, such as union leaders and socialists, encountered opposition as well. The arts were a particular target. For example, the Customs Service banned novels by James Joyce, and local crusaders in Boston excluded dozens of books from local bookstores, including books by Upton Sinclair and Ernest Hemingway. Meanwhile, the film industry accepted to morality campaigns, or acceded, I should say, to morality campaigns when it adopted the Hays Code in 1930. This code prohibited films that depicted nudity, kissing, and adultery, and barred scripts that portrayed clergymen in a negative light or showed sympathetic representations of criminals. For many artists, writers, and others, censorship, prohibition, and political repression were egregious violations of civil liberties. Satirist H.L. Mencken described 1920s culture as moronic, and British writer D.H. Lawrence observed that Americans had destroyed the right to dissent. Some American writers and authors, including Hemingway, Gertrude Stein, and F. Scott Fitzgerald, became disillusioned enough to emigrate to Paris, where they enjoyed greater freedom of expression and the right to drink legally. Concern for civil liberties grew from the arrests of anti-war dissenters under the Espionage and Sedition Acts, which prompted the formation of a group in 1917 that 3 years later became the American Civil Liberties Union, or the ACLU. For the rest of the 20th century, the ACLU took on many of the important legal cases that established the rights revolution in America. The ACLU helped inject meaning into traditional liberties such as freedom of speech and invented new rights such as the right to privacy. But the ACLU began as a coalition of pacifists, progressives, and lawyers who were outraged by the violation of Americans' rights by the government during World War I. Before the war, the Supreme Court had done little to protect the rights of unpopular minorities. Initially, the court itself restricted civil liberties. In 1919, the court upheld the constitutionality of the Espionage Act and the conviction of Charles T. Schenck, a socialist who sent anti-draft leaflets through the mail. Justice Oliver Wendell Holmes spoke for the court when he declared that the First Amendment did not prevent Congress from prohibiting speech that presented a clear and present danger of inspiring illegal activity. Free speech would not protect a man in falsely shouting fire in a theater and causing a panic. This became the basis of Supreme Court decisions in future cases, but since it allowed public officials to determine what kind of speech was dangerous, it proved to be an arbitrary doctrine. In 1919, the court also upheld the conviction of Jacob Abrams and 5 other men for passing out pamphlets criticizing America's military intervention in Russia after the Bolshevik Revolution. But a minority dissented, forming the basis for future defenses of free speech as necessary in the great marketplace of ideas later on that decade. By the end of the 1920s, the court had invalidated state laws making it illegal to advocate unlawful acts or changes in the political or economic system. A judicial defense of civil liberties was slowly being born. And that's the end of section 3. We'll be back for the 4th section next time.